Welcome to the Inspiring Sustainability Podcast. Today, I'm delighted to invite onto the podcast Christine Linz, the Executive Secretary of REN21, which is a very interesting organisation. I'll be very soon asking Christine to tell us more about it. So welcome, Christine.
Thank you very much. Hello, Adam. Good afternoon or good evening. I don't know. I'm right now in China, in Beijing, where it is 10:30 p.m. So for me it's good evening, but for you it's probably good afternoon.
It is good afternoon to you. I'm actually speaking from London. And just for the listeners out there, if you've stumbled across this on various platforms, you can find out more about myself, Adam Woodhall, and my business, Inspiring Sustainability, by looking at the website, inspiring-sustainability.com. But let's get on with the interview now. So, Christine, tell us a little bit more about REN21 and maybe about yourself as well.
REN21 was created in 2004 at the outcome of the first international conference on renewable energy that took place in Bonn in Germany. And it was created as a multi-stakeholder network. I will always refer to it as a coalition of the willing. All those in the private and the public sector that are keen on advancing renewable energy. So our members span from national governments to different international institutions such as the United Nations, the European Commission, the World Bank, but also industry associations, NGOs, and then actors in the field of science and academia. We have a small secretariat that is based at the United Nations Environment Programme in Paris, France. And we are issuing an annual report, this Renewables Global Status Report, which tracks the latest developments in the field of policy, market, industry, and the technology developments in all renewable sectors with the help of over 800 contributors from all around the world.
So I imagine you've got a bit of a brain that's able to kind of deal with lots of complexity there, because you've got just a few stakeholders, I imagine, that you need to be taking care of.
Absolutely, but we see that the success story of renewables over the last decade is really the success story of a very close cooperation between the private and the public sector. And we are very proud to have been able to build up such a network of really the best brains in renewable energy from all around the world, who are very inspired and very passionate to share this good news. It's a very decentralized sector, so it's necessary in order to capture the whole market to have people all around the world telling the story accordingly.
Yes, great. And tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been with REN21, and just maybe a little bit about yourself apart from that?
I started my career. I started economics in Austria, in my home country, and then I worked for the regional energy agency promoting renewable energy and energy efficiency there. Then was working for a decade in Brussels to build up a European industry body, and now I'm with REN21 since 2011. And I'm quite passionate about the subject, the matter, and it's great to work with so many passionate people from all around the world and condense messages and bring them together and tell the story about renewable energy, which has been absolutely fantastic in the last decades.
Yeah, no, it's a fabulous story that's been happening. And so maybe just what's one thing that you'd like to share about yourself that isn't about when you're passionately communicating about renewables?
Then I'm enjoying traveling, so I think it's great to be able to go around the world and see many different places, and very often I'm lucky that I can combine the passion for going around the world with my passion of informing people about all the exciting things that happened in the renewable sector. So all in all, I'm very lucky.
Yes, sounds fantastic combination. Now, let's get into the main part of the interview, because there's a bit of an elephant in the room as we speak, which is a certain President Trump, and he recently made a decision regarding COP21 and the Paris Agreement. And so we can just kind of get that one out of the way. Shall we? I'd love to know your thoughts regarding that decision.
Well, effectively, I would say that our report can't be launched at a better moment than in the aftermath of the decision that President Trump has been taking to take the US out of the Paris Agreement. For me, honestly, this decision comes as a big surprise, because it comes at the moment when renewables are really showing that they are competitive. We had in 2016 a year where there was more renewables capacity added than ever before. We have a situation where investors got more capacity for their money, so investment went down and capacity increased, which is a clear demonstration that prices for renewable energy have fallen significantly, and so renewables in many parts of the world are cost competitive. And so I find it very surprising that the US president has taken this decision, as especially also from his background as a businessman, at the moment when this has happened. And he, on the one hand, took the United States out of the Paris Agreement, but in parallel we have announcements of many regions in the US. California, for example, announced or adopted on Thursday a renewable energy target of 100% to be reached. So all the power consumed in California should be renewables based by the year 2045. We had on Friday, the announcement came from Bloomberg New Energy Finance that there were 5 solar power plants in Italy that were built without any subsidies. And so we see that renewables are really cost competitive. We have companies all around the world committing to 100% renewable energy targets, and in that sense, this US decision has to be respected, but is very surprising.
Yes, it is somewhat surprising, shall we say. And one of the things that actually is I've heard people say that we need to keep the fossil fuels and support that or nuclear to ensure baseload's covered. And I'd be interested in your comments on that belief.
Well, effectively, I would say that's the myth of the past. Of course, our current energy system is a very centralized one based on baseload. But we see that with the increasing share of variable renewables, we see that systems becoming more and more flexible. And of course, the more flexible an energy system is, the better high shares of renewables, variable renewables can be integrated. We have situations all around the world where countries nowadays have between 20 and 40% of their electricity coming from renewable energy sources. And in these countries, the lights don't go out and the machines don't stop operating. So we nowadays have already clear examples that this is not only possible, but it is even reachable with low costs. We have a situation that at least 24 countries in the world in 2016 met 5% or more of their annual electricity demand with wind power. Nearly 40% in Denmark, about 10% in my home country, Austria. We see that there is enough wind around the world so far to meet 4% of total electricity consumption worldwide. And these figures will increase. And of course, the higher the shares of variable renewables, the more flexible the system has to be. The more enabling technologies need to be deployed, be it electric vehicles, be it storage technologies. And this is also something that we are showcasing in the Global Status Report that these are actually growing, and we're just showing that a system without huge reliance on baseload is feasible. It's something new, of course. It needs some tweaking, but it's possible, and I think it's important that decision makers can see and feel how that can look like, and how other countries are doing this.
And can you see a time in the future when we'll get countries that are actually powered 100% renewably?
I think so. We actually see it already happen now in some islands and in some regions in the world. And I think more and more we have a situation where close to 100% electricity in Costa Rica is coming from renewable energy. So clearly this is getting more and more. And again, I think what we're often lacking, I think, is imagination. And these front runners are really demonstrating that this is feasible, and this is what we are spreading as news also in the Global Status Report, so that people start to know about these things.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting that actually, as you say, that imagination, and the imagination actually is, as far as I'm aware, is not that we need new technologies largely. It's just the intelligent application of existing technologies which to work together to balance the system.
Exactly, and I think in the future we're going to see even more of this happen. We're going to see a combination of supply and demand. We're going to see consumption and production of energy much more decentralized, and we're going to see also a much stronger integration of sectors: electricity, heating, cooling, and transport. So I think that we are just at the start of what's feasible. We will, of course, also discover new technologies. I'm pretty sure about this. But already with the means that we have today, can we imagine a future that looks completely different to what we have right now?
Yeah, I think and so one of the things that I'm interested in is how we just kind of get action happening. And sometimes, actually, we don't need people to believe what the future will look like. We just need things to start moving and keep on moving, because one of the things I'm quite aware of is with renewables, actually, the output has been growing exponentially for quite some time, even though some authorities have actually keep on suggesting that it's going to tail off, and it never tails off. It keeps on growing exponentially.
Absolutely. I mean, this is what I'm often saying. I'm saying that the renewables train has left the station. Yeah. I think what we need to do right now is to increase its speed. Clearly, a decision like the one happening in the US I don't think that it has the potential at all to stop this train. It might delay development a bit, but all in all, I think we are on an exciting path. There is still a lot to do, and also there's one thing that I think we must really realize is that through the decentralized nature of renewables, everybody can participate in this energy transition and can have its stake. And what is also very important, we now in this conversation, we mainly focused on the supply side, but of course we also need to look at the demand side. We need to implement energy efficiency measures, because the kilowatt hours that are not consumed are the cleanest ones. And this is, of course, very important that we not only produce, but we also moderate our consumption. But also one of the things, what makes me optimistic is the fact that in 2016, this was the third year in a row where global emissions from the energy sector remained stable while the global economy continued to grow 3%. So we actually achieve a decoupling of growth and emissions, and this is largely due to renewable energy and energy efficiency investments, and that is very, very positive, because it actually shows that these solutions are really central to reducing CO2 and to combating climate change.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, it's something actually, I've heard it said that even Trump's decision could actually benefit action because it kind of unites and stimulates the rest of the world. And now you talk to the rest of the world. You're in China at the moment. Obviously, certainly at the moment, one of the biggest players in a sense, but going forward is the biggest player. What's your thoughts about that kind of like that galvanizing effect of potentially Trump's decision?
I mean, of course, right now it was very encouraging to see that all the remaining G7 countries, China and India, even more committed to the objectives of the Paris Agreement that all the countries together agreed upon. Of course, I think there is an inherent danger that some countries might follow the example of the US and pull out. So I think it's, as we know that emissions don't stop at the border, it's important to not make that happen. The other thing is, of course, that the Paris Agreement is an international treaty. So President Trump's decision needs to be respected. But in absolute terms, this will take about 3.5 years to pull the US out of the Paris Agreement. By then, we probably have a new administration, and we will see how the world will look like then. So there is a lot of also uncertainty how this all will evolve. And again, I think that it was a decision on the national level, but on the regional level in the US and also on the corporate level, I don't think that this decision can stop renewables development. I think renewables also in the US will continue to grow, and definitely in the rest of the world, no doubt about this.
Yeah, definitely. And another kind of like lever for change is the divestment movement, divesting from funds from fossil fuel by investment bodies. Do you see that having much of a role in stimulating the movement away from fossil fuels and, by definition, then through to renewables?
Well, I think it's very encouraging to see this, because it shows that also the traditional investment sector does not believe that investments in fossil fuels in the long term are economical investments. And clearly, we had about $250 billion invested in renewables. In order to reach the Paris Agreement and the objectives there, more needs to happen. And so it's encouraging to see that money is divested in fossil fuels, which then could be invested in new renewables, in solar, in wind, in hydropower, in biomass and geothermal. So this all in all is very positive. And again, is it just underlining the fact that renewables make a lot of sense economically as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, so there's a lot of good news that we're hearing, but what would you say could be going better?
Well, I think what I referred to, I think it's important that we speed up developments, we increase investments. It's not that we have enormous amounts of time ahead of us. And we are also, in many cases, we are not very consistent with our policy decisions. Because on the one hand, we support clean technologies, we support renewable energy. And on the other hand, governments still spend 4 times more to subsidize fossil fuels than they use to support renewable energy. And of course, that is counterproductive because it artificially distorts energy prices and makes it harder for renewables to compete with fossil fuels. And so, of course, we need to increase investment in renewable energy, but we should also significantly advance the phasing out of fossil fuel subsidies. There is definitely need to do that.
Yes, and so that touches upon the role of governments. So how do you see their role in stimulating the development of the solutions?
I mean, what we know is that the energy sector is a regulated one. It is very encouraging to see that we have nowadays 176 countries all around the world with renewable energy targets in place. However, when we look at the policy map, we still see that there are far more policies in the field of power, with 126 countries, and only 68 countries have policies to promote renewables in transport, and only 21 countries around the world have policies to promote heating and cooling. And when we know that more than half of final energy consumption, or about half, is used to generate heating and cooling, we know that we still have a long way to go to completely decarbonize the energy sector and make our system more sustainable.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So there's still, even though it's we can look at the positives of how the market is really driving this, whether it be through the investment sector or through the renewables companies themselves, governments and policymakers still have a critical role. But just to finish off on the kind of, because one of the things that I find most inspiring is the businesses, especially the kind of innovative, smaller enterprises. How do you see them playing a role in the renewable revolution that we're seeing happening?
I think they're playing a huge role. I mean, we have a situation that in the developing countries, pay-as-you-go solar companies have seen a huge uptake. In 2012, there were about $3 million invested in pay-as-you-go solar companies. In 2016, it was 223 million. So it's huge amounts of companies, of jobs that have been created, micro enterprises. And not only, of course, in the developing countries, but also in the industrialized world, renewables are decentralized, and so they provide lots of job opportunities for people in remote areas, in remote regions. We have altogether 9.8 million people in the world employed by the renewable sector. Tendency is growing, and all this is just very exciting, as it provides lots of opportunities for growth. And as I said before, the nice thing about the energy transition with renewables is that really everybody can participate, be it through the purchase of green electricity, be it through installation of solar PV or biomass or solar thermal or geothermal in their own house, or be it through participating in the car sharing program with electric vehicles that generate that buy electricity from green electricity programs. So lots of opportunities and a very participatory approach, which I think is great for many people to participate.
Yes, and it's my intention for the Inspiring Sustainability podcast is to provide inspiration for all out there, and I think what you're telling me here is really providing that. So I'm really happy to have spoken to you today about all this, how this renewable revolution happens. So Christine, how do we find about yourself personally, and also REN21 online? Where can the listeners go to find out more about you?
You can. So the report comes online on the 7th of June. You can check out our website, www.ren21.net/GSR. And there you find the full report, you find the highlights, you find press releases in, I think, 11 languages, from Arabic to Farsi to Greek to Japanese to Chinese, you name it. And you also find all the infographics and a PowerPoint presentation downloadable. We definitely want your listeners to make use of this information. And of course, we also remain at their disposal for any questions.
Brilliant. What about yourself? If they want to follow you, how do they follow you personally?
They can follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is CHRLINS, like Christine Linz. Or they can drop me an email at christine.linz@ren21.net.
That's wonderful. Right. Okay, then. Well, thank you very much, Christine, for your time. I'm very excited that the report is coming out, and hopefully this podcast can be a part of getting it out to the world. So this is Adam Woodhall on the Inspiring Sustainability podcast, thanking Christine.
Thank you very much, Adam, for your questions, and bye-bye to your listeners.
Yes, and yes, goodbye from me. And if you want to find me online, you can find me on www.inspiring-sustainability.com, and also Adam Woodhall, all one word, either Twitter or LinkedIn. Very welcome to join me on those platforms. So until the next time, signing off to the listeners, thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great day wherever you are in the world.